What wonderful changes I see physically in the church. I think last time I was here, I don't recall the tree being there, but I was sitting back looking at it and I'm like, wow, what a beautiful display of zeal. The power of zeal and divine nature and the power behind nature, which is what we really need right now, right? I mean, I go outside my apartment complex and I see all the frozen bushes and 5 little leaves trying. And I'm like, you can do it, man. Every day I walk by, you can do it. The power of the word. You can do it, I'm telling you. Look at your friend next to you. He has 10 leaves. It's like, come on, I know we can do this. You know, I want to break the branches, the dead ones off so bad, but I'm leaving it alone. I'm leaving it alone. Man, today, friends, we're exploring the power of the spoken word. And I know that you as a church have been doing the 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Kind of took a little break in there because of Palm Sunday and Easter, but we're back. Yay. Everybody loves change, don't they? 15 commitments of conscious leadership. Why? The why. Why are we doing this? Because this book allows us to shift from fear to faith. It's not just in leadership. You can take any organization that will go through some type of change, right? So this is a way that we can work through some change. It allows us to take responsibility. Ooh. Well, I'm just on a roll this morning because guess what today's topic is? Gossip. Wow. How exciting. Everybody loves to talk about gossip. You get that? Okay. What gossip? We're going to talk a little bit about that. But this framework allows us to operate from clarity and alignment. In the case of a church, it allows us to bring together the collective consciousness. You see, individually, we work with Christ consciousness. But as a whole body, we have a collective consciousness in this church. It allows us to know that we're not alone. We're not alone. Commitment 5 is eliminating gossip. And that's hard. I'm telling you now, it is hard. You know, I won't tell you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. And even this week, I had some news I wanted to share so bad with somebody else. And I went, I had to pause. We'll get to that later. And I thought, is it going to add value to the conversation? And I went, no. And I'm like, now how do I get rid of it? Right? Commitment 5. You can call it gossip. You can say it's word of mouth. You could call it the rumor mill. You could call it buzz, whispering. But here's the thing. The reality is that organizations, private organizations, really any organization, actually use it on purpose. So it's a way for an organization in the private sector, let's just call it private sector, to use gossip or the rumor mill to take the pulse of their employees. We call it water cooler talk, right? So strategically it was used. You know, I'm a past administrator of a public school. I was assistant principal. And my principal, when I got hired and promoted, said, get to know the secretaries. Because it's the secretaries that run the school. That was his advice. And I'll say, every once in a while I had an idea, and I started off with that. And I'm like, oh, what do you think about this? And I'll tell you, probably about 15 to 20 minutes later, I had someone in my office going, I heard that you were thinking about. And I'm like, wow, that worked really fast. But come on, let's be honest. It's used, right? It's used. Later, I shifted my consciousness with the secretary, and instead I went to her and I said, I sat down in front of her and I said, tell me about your job. What do you do? And I found out all this stuff that she does. And I'm like, now how can I support you? And boy, did that shift the dynamics. I didn't use gossip with her. I stopped using it. And instead, I started using the words, how can I support you? And gossip is a symptom of being below the line. So you know in this book, we're talking about above the line, below the line. It's below the line. It's talking about someone instead of to them, right? That's hard. We're not used to that. It's venting, complaining, storytelling, speaking as a way of getting alliance or validation, you know? In the 15 commitments, they define gossip as speaking about someone to a third party in a way you wouldn't say it to them directly. Come on, we have all done that. That's okay. Above the line says that you are speaking directly to the person. You're asking questions. How can I support you? Or you're staying in alignment with your own values and spiritual authority. It says that in gossip, by speaking to the person directly with whom you have an issue. And you know, it may be a compliment. It may, you know, sometimes we actually like tell another person, I really like what that person did. Why didn't you go tell them? So it's hard for us sometimes just to go up. In the story of Miriam, Aaron, and Moses, they're all brothers and sisters, by the way, if you didn't know. Moses is, you know, given the word of God. And he's out there preaching and doing his thing. And Miriam and Aaron are back going, who does he think he is? What? Why is he doing it that way? Oh, I could lead better. And as a result, it says that Miriam, of course, the woman, I won't go there, but you know the Bible, is then struck down with an illness and has to be put out the tent for 7 days. But here's the key. See, they moved around a lot, and nobody could move without Miriam. So everybody had to wait until she was better. And then the entire community could move forward. See, this is not a punishment, as we may see in the Bible, but a divine law that says we are out of alignment and we need to get back into alignment. And the only way we can do that is to move forward as a community. You with me? In Unity, we teach that thoughts and words are formative. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said that the power center is in the throat. It's in the words. Every word we speak carries force. Every word builds or breaks. Think about that. It blessens or it burdens. Sometimes I have to simplify things. It unifies or it divides. We are powerful beings, and our words are very powerful. How do we use them? Florence Scofield Shinn, in her work described, well, she was a writer, if you didn't know, a New Thought writer at the time of the Fillmores of Emmett Curtis Hopkins. Doesn't say that they knew each other. She was in New York. They were in Missouri, which is amazing to think about. How these New Thought writers were all writing the same thing in several different states, and they didn't have the internet. How is that? I'm going to give it to the universe on that one. She wrote The Game of Life and Power of the Spoken Word, and she said, your word is your wand. Every word you speak is imbued with a creative, magical power. The question is not whether you are using your wand, but what spells have you been casting over your own life? Your voice is a bridge between invisible realm and infinite possibilities. And the visible world of your own physical experience. Every sentence you utter, every word you repeat is a command given to the most faithful and powerful servant in existence, your own subconscious mind. Every word we put out there is a manifestation, or we hear it back and it goes into our own subconscious mind. Who does he think he is? Jealousy, ego? I'm just reinforcing that in me. Wow. If we misuse that power, then we have scattered energy. We kind of feel it. I kind of felt it when I was like wanting to tell that person about this thing that happened in someone else's personal life. It had nothing to do with me. But I was like, ooh, I can't get my work done because I'm thinking about this. Scattered energy. Speaking from ego instead of truth. And Fillmore wrote that when the voice is unified with the soul, right, it carries sweetness and depth. But when it's disconnected from spirit, it sounds metallic and superficial. Do you ever notice if your voice changed when you were talking to somebody? Yesterday I did this big event at school and I had hundreds of parents there. I organized it. I had 35 teams of 3rd grade through 8th grade students that created these chain reaction machines. And it's all about them, right? You know? And then I had a team of people, 15 judges and volunteers, and I had a red shirt on, and they would run up and they're like, this is a red shirt question. They started calling me the red shirt. Go talk to the red shirt. She does. And they would come up, we don't know what to do with this. And I would take a deep breath. Everything you do is perfect. We're good. We're good. It's intention, it's feeling. I could have said, you're right. This is not going right. But instead I said, whatever you do is perfect. We'll just move on to the next thing. We have an hour. Take your time. Take a breath. And let's move on. Right? And Unity teaches the spoken word is creative power. And below the line, gossip is a misuse of that power. I think you guys got that. You're a pretty smart group out there. It's a lot of experience out here. You know it. You feel it. Above the line is directed, intentional, and creative energy, and below the line is your ego voice. Above the line is your soul voice. Right? So how do we stay out of gossip? How do we use that power of the spoken word? Shin teaches there's 3 simple things that you can do. You can say, I am. We've all heard that. I am. So yesterday or today, okay, some of you may know Little Feat. Does anybody know Little Feat? Okay, it's a musical group, rock group. Not my cup of tea, but I accompanied someone to a concert Friday night of Little Feat. And then I had to get up for my event Saturday morning. And then Saturday night, I had to go to my daughter's last play because she's graduating from high school. And then here I am this morning. And I was like, I am tired. I am tired. And then she said, I have. That's the other word. I have. And then she said, I choose. Those are 3 simple things. I am, I have, I choose. So I said, I am in good health. I got up this morning. I have the ability to move around and go places. And I choose to awake today with feeling refreshed. And guess what? I have energy, right? Hopefully. Now you guys are sleeping. I don't know. See, I thought, oh, that's a very simple thing. I could do that. For a church, I am part of this community. What do we say? I am part of this community. I have benefited from the teachings, the music, and the friendships that I have. And I choose to participate in moving the church forward in consciousness. Yes? Yes. So, when you are coming to the next person about an hour from now and you want to gossip, because it all sounds good right now, that ego is going to jump in there. And what can you do? You can pause and say, is this mine to say? Is this mine to say? Or is it the other person's news? My daughter just passed a welding certification, and I was so excited for her, and she was so excited, so I told her to text her mom. And then I was like getting on my phone to text mom. And I went, no, it's not my news. It's her news. But it was hard to stop and pause. So that's 1. 2, speak directly to the person involved. Consciousness number 4, I speak candidly and directly and respectfully. And 3, check your intentions. That's a biggie, because that's where the feelings come in. Am I speaking through ego or from truth? Am I seeking a connection or superiority? Am I relieving discomfort or creating calamity? Okay. And then 5, clean up your side of the street. If you have gossiped or you've said something that maybe you felt afterwards, that means you've got to clean your side of the street. Yeah, have fun. That's another spiritual assignment for another day, right? Another talk on that. Go clean up your side of the street. This requires you to pause. And as you work through the rest of your commitments, keep in mind that these lessons are part of a transformational journey, not just in you, but in the Christ and church consciousness, and that the whole camp cannot go forward until you address certain things, right? And so, not that there's any issues, but hey, we can use these in our own lives. The whole body of church needs to go forward. May we speak words that build, bless, and bring forth the Christ within. Amen? Amen. And unify the soul.